This here is from far out when Johnny Depp dropped Lucy in the Sky at record company and vanished out of a window. It does seem a little bit far out, so yeah, let's see what we got. They appear to exist using a different set of rules, not bothering to check whether they fit in with the rest of society, not particularly caring what other people think, and occasionally testing the boundaries of mortality. All of that is fair to say can apply to Mr. Johnny Depp. That intro was like such a wise, well thought out intro, as if they know Johnny personally, as if this isn't somebody just sitting there writing an article behind the keyboard, looking at some old articles about Johnny and writing this. That's my silly guess, but let's see what we got. For several decades, he has been a notorious bon vivant, whatever that means. I don't speak French. A hard drinking, live a life to the full, rock music turned up to 11 Hollywood vampire, an appreciator of fine women, wine, and possibly the odd substance classified with a grade higher than B. Of course, while it all makes for some great stories, it has more recently got him into a great deal of trouble, most notoriously due to his separation from the equally feisty Amber Heard, which ended up in a very public court case we all know about. Thank you. Where are we going here? And accusations that ranged from bedtime defecation to death threats. All right. Thank you. That was mostly unnecessary, but I read it. But many years ago, in the 1990s, before Depp essentially morphed into a slightly more audible version of Keith Richards, he was merely one of the most famous and lusted after actors in the world. They named some of his movies: Crybaby, Donnie Brasco, Edward Scissorhands. Okay, they say he was the bad boy, chain smoking, drug taking equivalent of James Dean. In 1993, Depp appeared in a music video for the Lemonhead single It's a Shame About Ray, which gave him an opportunity to hang out with his friend, the lead singer, Evan Dando. It's important to remember just how big a deal the Lemonheads were at that point in time. They were kind of a one-hit wonder. It's a Shame About Ray was on the radio all the time. It was popular, but I mean, they weren't really influential or shifting anything. They were just, kind of a band in the mix of pretty much bands following Nirvana to the top in the 90s. Okay. Point is, they were kind of big, not really. They go on to say that this guy at the Lemonheads label noticed something about Johnny. He recalls Dando and Depp appearing in his office on Sunset Boulevard one afternoon acting like guilty schoolboys and murmuring something about being on a trip. As he recalls, at this moment, he, Dando, and Johnny were giggling, slumping into their seats, wearing Cheshire Cat smiles, nodding gently to the music, and occasionally raising eyes, marble blue and pinned, to stare at me, at which point they would break out laughing. I mean, not the worst description of a trip. Fairly new to his job, Summer wasn't quite sure how to handle the unfolding situation. A genuine Hollywood A-lister and singer of a label's hottest new band were both high on Lucy in the Sky in front of him without saying much at all. To his relief, the pair disappeared again after around 20 minutes, leaving him to consider the rest of his workday. Then the guy heard some odd noise, like horses running down a track, and the door opened. He said there's some big thumping sounds, and then he looked up and saw Evan and Johnny, their brains allegedly scattered, smothered, and covered by who knows what, running around the 8th floor of the building on the outside. The drug-addled twosome had found a way out the window and out onto the temporary work platforms and were busy doing laps of the exterior, laughing wildly as they went, fully expecting to get into a huge amount of trouble if the two most famous people in town plummeted to their deaths, having just been in to see him. Sommer did the most sensible thing. He grabbed his coat and fled the office to his car, driving home as fast as possible. That sounds weird. And then the guy wrote a little bit about it in a diary or something. Something like he told his friends about the incident. Honestly, it's kind of a word salad. It could be this guy here was the guy doing something, and Johnny and Evan were just kind of there to see him. But I don't know. I wasn't there. The writer of this article wasn't there. So you know what? I'll give this one like a 25% chance of being true. If you're not subscribed here, consider it. If you don't, I'll be sad, but I'll get over it. See you next time.